We won't listen to what they're saying. We know it's just love that we're giving to this place that we call our home. We can't change what's been done, but it's still our run. We are one with the world. We can make a brighter tomorrow. Together make a change. It's our life. We can't step back from what we know is right. So let's shine our light.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Ahlan wa sahlan fikum. Hello everyone. Welcome to our session with Dr. Rana and Mr. Ahmad about how can we elevate social innovation in the MENA region. They will be sharing more about this and their expertise in this field, but we will share a little bit of context about what this week about and what are we doing. So I'll be showing now a welcoming message from the co-chair of Catalyzing Change Week. It's a week that happens every year. So you are welcome to join every year. This very interesting week of social entrepreneurs sharing from around the world about their experiences.
I am Sanjay Roy, the co-chair of the Catalyzing Change Week Programming Committee. Welcome to Catalyzing Change Week 2024. This is where we'll not just have conversations, but we'll actually see change. We'll see change makers, innovators within the social space. You'll meet government folks and funders. You'll see people who've done excellent good practice that we can learn from. And most importantly, it'll be a place to network, learn, and exchange ideas. So do dive right in to the Catalyzing Change Week 2024 and enjoy the experience.
Some of the housekeeping reminders, just keep your videos on if possible, show your name and company. If you can also share that in the chats, that would be amazing. Unmute whenever you want to speak. We want also to have some conversations around this, so feel free to ask, comment, and raise your hand. And after this, I'm going to share this back to Dr. Rana. Dr. Rana, you have the mic now.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In Arabic, it means salam, meaning peace upon you all. I am very excited to be here with everyone today, especially with my co-panelists, and we're going to have an interesting deep dive into social innovation. However, before I begin, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Rana Dajani. I'm a professor of molecular biology, and I'm a social innovator. I founded a program called We Love Reading back in 2006, which is about changing mindsets through reading to nurture change makers. We at Catalyst 2030 as a board member and as the head of the MENA chapter, trying to do systems change so that we can hopefully together through collaborations and building trust, achieve the sustainable development goals in record time if possible. However, we live in reality, and everything we do is related to what's happening around us. We do all these things that we do to change the world for better, for future generations of children, to protect the earth around us, and to have a better life. And so in that context, we can only work in relation to the environment around us. And today I want to just highlight what is going on in Rafah and Gaza and the Israeli occupation forces continuing their genocide within Gaza and the apartheid and ethnic cleansing in other parts of Palestine, like the West Bank and other areas. And so in the name of all the children, the women and the men, the journalists, the health workers, the teachers, the academics who have been killed, I ask for a minute of silence and respect for them. Thank you very much. Jazakumullahu khairan. It is in this context that we actually have this discussion to make sure that our conversations are relevant and real, and not just paper and pen, and not just words that we say, but actual change that will make a difference on the ground. And that's why I even call into question as we discuss this, and I offer this for all attendees to think and reflect upon what is social innovation if it is not tied to activism, and how are they related, and how is our work related to that. But in this context, I will first start by introducing our wonderful and I came to know recently speaker, a very well-known lawyer in Jordan, Omar Al-Tawil. I'll briefly introduce Omar. Omar is a Jordanian lawyer who works in Tawil and Company law firm as a managing partner since 2006. Oh, same year I started Wheel of Reading. He was elected to be a legal arm and a board member of the National Council for Social Enterprise legislation in Jordan in 2019 to 2022, and he'll tell us about that story. He believes in social enterprises to be an effective tool to achieving global citizenship through common grounds based on the Sustainable Development Goals. And we'll see how does activism tie into that later on in our talk. But without further ado, welcome. Do you mind if I call you Omar or
Please,
Mr.
please.
Tawil?
No, Omar is in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Now, the title of this session was to understand how social innovation can be achieved within Jordan, within the MENA region. And how can we unlock the potential of social innovation? And we're going to delve deep into the current landscape of social innovation, starting with Jordan, because we have to start local, and then understand what does that mean in the regional context of MENA, and then even tied to the global context. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities for growth and sustainability? And what are the strategies that we can explore to foster collaborations while leveraging technology and innovation for social impact? So first, my question to you, oh, by the way, for the format, we're going to have a conversation, me and Omar, and then we're going to open up to a Q&A, like half point. And we hope that you can, the audience can either write questions in the chat or just raise your hand and converse with us directly, so we can have a lively discussion between all of us. So from your point of view, as a lawyer, so you come at this, the world of social innovation from a very different point than many of us as social innovators or academics come to it. But as a person who works in law and therefore is related to policy, can you tell us more about first of all, what got you interested in this field as a lawyer, your personal story, briefly, and then from that, how do you think is social innovation important, and what is your role in making it happen?
Dr. Rana, thank you very much for the introduction. You've given me a lot of credit, more than I deserve. But this is a global movement, and the theory of change and the change makers are all just getting into this stream of change, because the whole world is concerned about this tool precisely. What got me into this, and I was always thinking of how can we unite people? How can we develop into going from a place where there are different cultures, there are different religions, ideologies, and then I looked at the social enterprise and the SDGs, and I thought, yes, so we have a consent of all the world about this 17 SDGs, so we can unite people through that. I've been engaged in social work ever since, even before my graduation. I come from a family from the northern areas of Jordan, from Irbid, where a very nice story happened, which got me involved into how can we regulate this. And I've probably talked about this with you, Professor, and on the phone. There was one of my aunts, which is a very old lady, had an olive farm, and all her sons and daughters were outside, and she didn't outside the village, and she didn't want to leave. So her crops were getting out and falling on the ground, useless. Nothing is happening, and she felt bad about it. So she kept talking about it. And no, you are not doing something. Come on, we have to do something about this farm. A couple of young people, also relatives from this small village, came to say, you know what? Instead of us being standing like doing nothing, let's start taking this, helping Muhammad which I mentioned earlier for you. Let's help Muhammad to cultivate the olives and to take them further and do the whole thing for her as a favor. They started with that. And then they found out after a while that there are different farms in the village which have the same problem. So we have a lot of waste in a very small village. And the waste was calculated later into 100,000 JDs per year, just waste. So these young people started working, and then they started taking the oil and distributing the oil under the name of a hakama product. That's the name of the village. But later they wanted to have some money because they can't just keep on bringing donations from the village. So they agreed that they could take 10% of the outcome of these farms, so they can spend money. And then something happened. They became very successful, by the way, and they had a very good business model. But later, the government, that was like more than 10 years ago. But the government then said, you know what, you're taking profit and you're making social work and you're making this work under the NGO. So no, come on, you have to either stop this or we'll take you to court. So they got scared. They made a for-profit entity, and then they got into they stopped being a social innovator kind of thing, and the spirit went down, and they're just now a simple company that's trying to make it just like any other people. There is a story where if we had a legal framework, these people will not only be able to help Muhammad, they will help all the Muhammads around the world. They will have the idea of the innovation will spread all over the world, and they will become like Muhammad Yunus. They will have a big, probably bank. They will have people investing, especially in the left uncultivated farms, which is one of the SDGs. So it got me into this, and I started working on it, and I started reading more and reading more. And one day I was invited to the council to speak about it, and I'm the youngest, I'm the newest to this innovation.
Because it looks like one session.
Can you please all put mute? Thank you very much. Thank you. So I was invited to the council, and I was the youngest, the newest there. So I was more agile and I was more innovative in that manner. So we got the policy out, and the policy was done in 2 years with the help of Plan International, UNDP, Ruad, a lot of respectable names were on the board. I was just representing the legal arm of the board, and it was divided into 2 committees, the technical and the legal. I was heading the legal, and it came out very, very neat and very conclusive. Yet the idea of social enterprise came from we have the capitalism and the socialism. They both don't talk to each other. They are a very ancient enemies to each other, and the world has been going back and forth between these 2 concepts. A recent study that was made by an entity called Rasid, they were talking about the political arena and how the political parties are doing in Jordan, and they were just telling people, we don't have right and left in Jordan. In the MENA region, we don't have right and left. We have right people, right wing in issues, and left wing in issues, and they may be the same legal parties, the same political party. So we are kind of a hybrid community. We think capitalism in a way in things, and we think industrial policies and the government intervention in probably the same arena. So we can't be tagged as capitalists or as socialists. Therefore, when the social enterprise develop naturally in the new world, where you can actually do some social work, give conscious to companies that can actually provide a service or a product under one of the SDGs. It was beautiful, because when you come to think about our culture, I'm going to talk about two levels, because we have the last 100 years and we have the last 2,000 years. So let's talk about the 100 years first. in the last 100 years, we have two structures which exactly are very, very, very compatible with the social enterprise. We have the endowment of properties, which they call in Arabic al-waqf. This is a property that is totally given to the government, to the public in general, and the public would start making money. It will run this endowment in a certain endowment policy, and it will start. And there will be certain beneficiaries who can take the profit of this entity. This is widely spread in Jordan and in the MENA region, and it is legislated. We also have, which is also in the region and in Jordan, it is the cooperatives in Jordan and in the region. The cooperatives are the agricultural communities came together and say, you know what, we'll take loans. We will all come together as social to develop certain areas in a social manner, and then we will make profit and distribute profit on all the members of this cooperative. In Arabic, al-ta'awuniyat. And that was there, and it was present, and there is a law for it, and there is a department for it, and there's a department for the endowment policies of Sharia law also. So we all have that in presence. So the idea of profit and social work do not meet. It is not right. It is a general idea that people, because we have this, if you're doing good, so you're not supposed to make money. Okay, you're not supposed to make profit. And this we took not from our jurisprudence. We took this from the movies and the and the storytelling, which of course I respect, but it's not real. Now,
what you mean, in other words, you're talking about that we took this from the Western philosophy, thinking that's what advancement and civilization is, while we already had our own, which was a much more natural, real, practical, tested model that already works, that we're already working on, and that we need to actually trust in and work on it, and maybe then offer it to the world as a solution, because now the world is trying to find new solutions, and then why reinvent the wheel, as you said, since we already have it. Exactly. That's your point, right? Wow, that's amazing. So to me, this is one very important takeaway for this session and for Catalyzing Change Week, is that we are thinking of systems change. We are thinking of new models of funding and sustainability financially. And you are telling us that there are models like those two examples that if we dig deeper in, we can present them to the world. So thank you very much. Now I'm very excited for you to continue. I just wanted to clarify that.
I have another thing. I have another thing to say, by the way. We have a law that was issued in 1965. It has a certain word. It says social enterprise. If you go and translate it, it's called social enterprise. We can register social enterprise through the Social Development Ministry. That law wasn't canceled, and this is a trick. You know, every time there are new laws that come, they canceled the one before. There was probably an administrative mistake, government back then, that did not actually cancel this law, and this law is like one page. So we have the legal grounds for that. Now, where is the problem? And this is where I think the new legislation, the new legal framework should come and solve. We are not, as you have said, you professor, we are not here to reinvent the wheels. No. We just want to amend a little bit, tweak a little bit. Because in the endowment in Sharia law, we're not allowed to distribute profit for the owners. So this is an issue. We have to talk about it. In the cooperatives, yes, we are allowed to distribute profit for the owners, but there are no less than 15 people. There are rules, okay, and it has to be agricultural, and there is a huge history burdened in these kind of cooperatives. So we need to let go of it. Probably, I don't know how. We need to do like with the Turks in Turkey. What they did is they did the same. They took this kind of cooperatives and they switched it into a social enterprise kind of a legal tool. It didn't really work, but they tried, and they're doing something else now. Like Tunisia, they started something in 2016, and now in 2020, they have also come back to the SSE law. It's Social and Solidarity Economy Law in 2020. So they did it in June after the corona, and it's still going through. In general, what I'm saying, since we are talking about hybrid, two worlds colliding, the government is still looking at this in a different way, not in the real ways. If you're going to go hybrid, you're going to go hybrid all the way. You can't just issue a law, and there are two ways to issue the law, and I will talk about it, and then monitor this through the free market. Because what they're doing, they're giving people the ability to make a social enterprise label, like the UK, like Luxembourg, they did that, like Malaysia, they did that. But they are giving the private sector the power to have an accreditation power over these entities. So they're not letting go of the free market yet, because this is a hybrid. So you need to have an industrial policy kind of thing in order to control it. So they're giving the free market, and at the same time they are allowing it to be. So it's going to fail. Why? I'm sorry, I'm going to be a bit clear about this, transparent, because you can't, we have an issue in our culture. If you're hesitant, you fail. Okay, you either take it full force. If you scream, make yourself heard, and if you hit, make it painful. So we want to be, so we want to make it a very clear way to go about it. You can't go hybrid and then, so no, you know what, but we can't do it hybrid here. We have to do it capitalist here. Or no, we have to do it hybrid, and we have to stick to our social concepts. So what happened is that, for example, in Tunisia, they made this law beautiful. They made it a label kind of law, which is you can go through any entity and register yourself as a social enterprise, very similar, closely similar to the UK. What happened later is you don't have mapping, because the monitoring is not there. It's not in the law. Nobody's monitoring this. You don't have governance, proper governance, and you have a fixed amount of profit sharing that you are allowed, which is really not social. It does not collide with the innovational thoughts and the concepts. And finally, which is the most important, there is no impact measurement in the law. These ideas, when you're talking about social enterprises, when you're talking about a company that's main goal is to develop a product or a service in order to get to serve an SDG, then you need to audit it in a manner that will reflect its impact. Otherwise, there is no use. It's just another non-for-profit or another for-profit entity. Why do I want to measure the impact? Because I want to do mapping. If I, as a government, because even in the recent, let me take this a bit quickly to where the free world, in quote unquote, which I don't think it's a free world anymore, but where the capitalist world today is is intervening into the free market. For example, the US put some industrial policies which did not allow a free market to be penetrated, like when they stopped the Japanese cars from coming in. Now, this is not a free market, so you're either a free market or you're not. Okay, but they said no. You know what? Let's do some paper about what we call industrial policies. We are allowed sometimes to do this. Okay, fine, for the bigger benefit. Thank you. Now we know. Okay, a free market alone does not work, and a socialist market alone does not work. This hybrid model is exactly what the community wants. Right. Now, so we have two ways to register or to go about the legal framework.
Before you go on, I just want to also highlight, though, so to me, that's the second take-home message, is that as we move towards sustainable change, we need to be bold. And it's about evolution, coming up with new models that are, evolution means that you're not coming up with a brand new model. You're taking the lessons learned and you're adapting depending on the environment to create a model that is more fit within the context of your objectives, which is exactly what you said. Yeah. But it takes boldness and courage to call out and not to fall into the old schematics to please someone or not, and to be bold to call out those free markets, those capitalistic ones that may say on the surface that they want to serve you, but ultimately they are serving their purpose of making more money for certain groups and not equity for all. So I think that's a very important message, and you have highlighted what are the challenges in the evolving models that you have seen in Tunisia, in the West, in Malaysia, and I think highlighting those problems will shed light on how we should do it better. So if I understand correctly, you're going to share with us now what were you working on the law in Jordan to address those challenges? Is that what you're going to talk about?
Yes, absolutely.
Great, thank you. Go ahead.
And
yes.
If you allow me, just before to indulge into that, I want to take it back to the why. The why is important. What's happening in Gaza today, what's happening in the region today, the forcing people, forcing the countries to say certain things, is all based on non-existing of a culture of economy. The culture of economy, the economical culture, not the trade community. I'm talking about the culture and the economy, which is exactly the social entrepreneurs and the small markets, which I talked about in the article, which I shared with you. I hope if you want to share it with the audience, it will be beneficial. What I'm talking about here is, imagine that Gaza is a standalone, which it is a standalone entity. It is a standalone sector or city. But imagine if they have the ability to cross the borders just through, not only with what they're doing, because their patience, their power is crossing not borders, it's crossing hearts. But imagine over and above, they are connected with the world with their social development goals and activities. This will allow the power of the Gazans, the power of any small entity, any small village in the world to be connected worldwide. And I believe that there are three veins of the world. It's electricity, whether it's general grids or small grids. We'll talk about that, because small markets and big markets. We have mailing and internet. And now we have the SDGs. They are the veins of this world. They connect humans. If we want to think about global citizenship, if we want to create small markets everywhere we are going, then maybe by this, we will be able to. What I'm talking about takes a lot of steps, and there's a lot of, I'm not being naive. I'm just saying that we have a whole way to go about it, but maybe one day, not in Aqaba, but maybe one day in Tafile, there will be a need for an airport, because they want to take products outside of there. It's cheaper to take it through the airport. It will be more beneficiary to make an airport closer to the market. So if you make small markets around the provinces of every country and push those markets to make social change, then I think we will get the best benefit. We will have an intrinsic value of our economy. And this is absolutely doesn't mean that we are being rebellions, we are being outside the international community. On the contrary, we are being part of the international community. We are abiding by the treaties that the international community has put, and we are letting go of the urban and the clusters that have been ignored for a long time.
So what you're talking about is like decentralization around the globe,
Yes.
and let's say harking back into local, the proximate leaders, which is let's say the mantra of Catalyst. And today, Giroud Bellamoria, who's the founder of Catalyst, is talking about the people and the planet first. And that means what you're saying is, how do we decentralize? What are those systems that we have to put in place to enable that to happen? Through collaboration across the globe for those. We will be talking a little bit about that when we launch MENA Manara, which is under Catalyst, an initiative to talk about how can we do that across the Arab world, beyond borders, across borders. So I hope people will join us tomorrow to talk about that. And we need the systems. So the mechanisms that you are suggesting will be the frameworks, the steel wire that will make it happen in reality, not just, like you said, lofty words that make us feel good, but we want to actually, how can we actually do them? So please go ahead.
Absolutely. So these tools, we can talk about it tomorrow if you want, but simply, values, and then incubators, and simply create this kind of community, and that will be enough to make change. Now, let me take you a step in our journey how we were thinking about the legal framework in Jordan. Again, Jordan is a country that is in good alliance with the United States and the West. So we are in our studies and in our approaches, which is not bad, but it's there. We are being capitalists, and we want to go to the free market as much as possible. Yet, we have a heritage of bar associations, in the 1st of May, we still do like the Soviet Union does. We take a holiday for the Labor Day. Okay, we still have that heritage within us. So, like it was always said, all workers of the world unite. We have made it, all workers of the world take a hike. It's a holiday.
That's very true all over in the US and Germany. Yes.
Yeah, everywhere. So what I'm saying is, we are a mixed community. So when we started approaching this, we said, okay, we can either go with the cooperatives, because if we go with the endowment and the Sharia compliance kind of thing, it's a very special thing. It's only for Sharia compliance. It's not. It is not compatible, and this is what I'm saying. It is very important to be able to express clearly without fear. The Sharia compliance endowment is not compatible with the international social change that is happening today, because it's closed. Okay, it is not allowed to distribute profit. It is haram to distribute profit. So it is what it is. Endowment policy for a certain thing. What we can use from that is the existing knowledge and the acceptance and complicity of having a social or a company that doesn't distribute profit and having its own purpose and way. So we said, okay, the Sharia endowment is good to be backed by certain things, but it's not totally compatible, so we'll leave it. We went to the cooperatives. The cooperatives, they are existing. We have a law, we have regulations, it's there, beautifully done. But since it has 15 people and above, and since it has been made in a very old manner, we have there's too much supervision from the government over it. So from the 15 people, there has to be a representative from the intelligence, from the interior affairs, from the ministries. So it's a bit hard to take this as an agile entity for social change. So if we want to amend, we suggested that in this, and it's beautiful, by the way, if you can read it, I'll send it to you, the whole policy. If we can amend the cooperatives, the law in the cooperatives, we will face two challenges. The first challenge is the why, and we have to go through this through the normal mandate of the in the parliament, which we needed to explain, and we needed to do all what I'm saying now. Imagine what I'm saying now, I have to say it in front of the parliament, and it was very hard. It was very hard because people don't get it. They need to be taught about it in order to learn it. If you go to the best lawyer in Jordan and you say, you know what, I want to make a social company, he said, it's not written anywhere in the law, so get lost. Okay, I have to explain it like I'm explaining it right now in a book or in a research or in a policy paper, and then say, yes, okay, so, and then he might be able to understand. So a quick conversation will never get us anywhere. Therefore, we have the cooperatives. The cooperatives are there. They have a very bad heritage of corruption because they used to take loans from a designated bank for the agriculture, and they a lot of them took the money, some of them didn't work. You know, there's a whole, like any other left alone concept in the Arab world, it has a lot of issues. Let's not say corrupt, but issues. So we needed, if we want to come up with the new social change and social entrepreneurship, we needed to think how we're going to dismantle this whole cooperative challenges that we have, the cooperative law. So we said, okay, let's put that aside too. Not yet. We will look at it in a different way. And we also said, we don't want to do like the UK, and we don't want to do like what Tunisia did, because Tunisia did a label. You can take it to an NGO and say, you know, I'm a social enterprise. You can take it to I don't know, whatever, a club, and you say I'm a social enterprise, or a company, whatever. So in order to do this, we had to say, okay, if we do this in Jordan and we don't specify a certain law, we will hit the biggest wall that is clear to everyone in Jordan. In Jordan, we have an issue, and that is due to the lack of political vision of political parties. We come with laws horizontally. So each law is issued alone and doesn't talk to other laws. So for example, if we want to encourage investment, we do that. But recently we have done something different about it. But if we do that, then they don't talk to each other, and the investor will go to the law number A, and will not be able to talk to B. Then he will be surprised with C and D laws that he hasn't heard of, that he needs to comply with. So we talk about the laws in a horizontal way, not in a vertical way. Having said so, if we make a label and we leave it, we are inviting the social entrepreneurs or the social enterprises to drown into the jurisdiction of every entity, every legal governmental body that has anything to do with it. And we do have this, which is a respectable thing, by the way, in Jordan, that people do not let go of their jurisdiction. It's a jurisdiction, or it's a war of jurisdictions. And this is absolutely in every place in the Arab world. In the MENA region, if you have a jurisdiction and somebody steps over you, it's a war. That means they don't respect you, and they are trying to take something away from your power. So this ministry will start fighting this ministry, and then we'll have a clash. So if we don't make it crystal clear who is the owner, why is it happening this way, who is going to supervise and look and control these entities, then we are going to act. We're giving it a death penalty before it starts. So we decided to go, you know what, because the endowment didn't work, the cooperatives didn't work, and the general label didn't work, let's go directly to the company's law. And we said, in Article 7 in the company's law, there are like 6 or 7 kind of companies. We said, we'll add one, just a very simple way of adding 7, social enterprise. And we added in the definition that it is an entity registered according to the Jordanian law that can accomplish any of that can make a product or a service through its social sustainable goals and through the SDGs. And there will be later a regulation that can regulate the following: how to distribute money, profits, how to measure the impact, when are you allowed to distribute money, how can we connect the impact measurement with the profit distribution, and then we can do the mapping. We can come back and, let's say, for example, if somebody goes to a village called Fagur in Al-Karak and say, I want to do unemployment, and we have 3 social entrepreneurs who are doing the same, we'll say, no, you're not allowed to do that in Fagur, go do it in somewhere else, because it will be saturated. So the mapping is so important, because if we don't do the mapping, we will not benefit perfectly from this. Now, when you do the regulation in this manner, then you are paving the way for a community to be formed. And when you pave the way for the community to be formed, then you will have incubators, social incubators. And then you will have a community of mentors, and you will have a community of investors who are willing to come and to talk about this and to invest in the social enterprises that are in Jordan. Now, when we talk about incubators, of course, which is the tool we talked about for the small markets in the article, Professor, if we talk about these incubators, that means we are talking about a tool that can connect the social entrepreneurs who are in Jordan with the worldwide network that are similar to them in their goals, in their human goals. So you want a global citizen, you need to connect it to the global veins, which is incubators who talk around the world with similar people, similar goals. Now,
yeah, so this is what you said. This is what Catalyst is already doing, and we're hoping to have more people from Jordan join and actually enact what you're saying. So yeah, so if you want to, because I want to open it up to the audience if they have questions. So if you want to wrap up in a couple of minutes so that we can open it up, and then we'll conclude.
No, and for me, I'm very clear. I just went through we have the cultural backup. We have the cultural, we have the legal framework already existing. We are very, the social enterprise is very, as they say, kosher to our culture. We understand it, we know how to talk about it, we know how to do it. And fourthly, it's going to take time, but if we have the political will to do it properly, without hesitation, in one manner, in one way, in a one-way manner. We are hybrid. We're going to, the government is going to be involved in the policies, is going to be involved in the mapping, is going to be involved in the way you distribute your profit and way I'm going to measure your impact. Then I am very, I'll be happy. And I think by that, we will have a mature legal framework. The government didn't get it. When we approached and we gave them this work, they said, we're not yet ready. Maybe they're right. Maybe they can see different points of, because, I'm climbing the mountain, they're on the top of the mountain. So they see 4 angles. I'm just seeing them saying no. But I was angry at that time because they wasted 3 years of work.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was wasted, right? All of this is good. It's learning, it's meeting the right people, it's knowing who's with you, who's not, understanding the weak points, because if some people have challenges with it, those are real challenges and we need to address them because we want everybody to be on board. So, and I don't think it's wasted. It's just that we have more work to do to address those points. But now we have a framework, and it's just about convincing those in power to enable it to happen. But what I really liked is how you've learned in this process from other Arab countries, how they've done it. You've taken what's good, you've left what's not working. And so this is a newer version, again, back to evolution, that is better, more fit. And I'm sure with time, we'll find even, adjustments and make it even better as we go. And actually, part of MENA, we have a working group on how do we create a framework of funding, as you said, measuring of impact, mapping and governance, using the model that you described, because others are talking about it. Like I said, I mean, you mentioned Tunisia was basing it on the social and solidarity economy, which is actually now a new UN resolution that has been passed. So, but as you said, it doesn't have a mapping, it doesn't have a governance structure, it doesn't have how to measure impact. It's just words that talk about, this is important. And that's why this is a time in history, an opportunity to come up with those governance, the mapping, the measurement in the right way, so that it's not hijacked by corporate and not hijacked by any particular body, but actually done with the good intent of everybody together to make it happen. So we really love to have you as part of that group, and anyone who's interested to be part of, forming the new, the next generation of how does this work? What does it look like in collaboration with everyone? Because it's also, like you said, we don't want to work in a silo and then knock on someone's door and they say, who are you? We wanted to do it with them, with everyone. So everybody has a vested interest and feels responsible and wants to make it succeed because it's their idea as well. So that's the vision. And I think, like you said, everything takes time. It's about increment change. But so long as the goal is very clear and the vision is very clear where we want to go. So I want to open it to the audience. If anybody has questions, you say, if you want to unmute yourself or write in the chat, say your name, where you're from, and ask. And if it's a question, that would be great. If it's a comment, that's fine, but just make it brief. So we have kind of like around 10 minutes, and then we will wrap up in a conclusion. So please, we have Farah. Go ahead, Farah.
Alaikum. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Rana. Thank you very much, Mr. Omar. Very happy to hear all of this. And I was really very impressed with so many things and with the work that you have done the past 3 years. That's something really great. And I think that will build for the future. I mean, I agree with the Dr. Rana, it's not wasted at all. Actually, I was very happy to hear that because I was talking to Dr. Rana 2 days ago, and I was telling her about a project that I'm going to start in Jordan for social entrepreneurship, community, and ecosystem. And I think that what you have said is aligned with my vision for this project, that I'm looking forward to work on creating a community for social entrepreneurship in Jordan, connecting social entrepreneurs, incubators, and also influencing the policymakers with this. So when we have a strong community, this would influence, of course, the policy, and would kind of like prove that there is this community that has, needs, and they need to have something like to regulate their work and so on. So yeah, I was very happy to hear that this is what it's need, and this is that's very much aligned with my plan for the project. And I'm going to start this project very soon for 2 years, and I would like really to connect more and to maybe to work together with you, Mr. Omar, and of course with Catalyst MENA, into kind of like really building this with, you know, on the right track, so we can kind of like maybe, you know, complement what you have done, and maybe to influence this and take it forward to maybe like get the government ready to legalize the social entrepreneurship. And here I would like to ask you this question: when do you think they can be ready, and what could make them ready to regulate social entrepreneurship in Jordan, from your experience and your communication with them?
Very interesting question. I don't think they will ever be ready. The idea is, will we be ready? I mean, the way the laws happen in Jordan, let me just put it straight, as it is. Let's say it as it is. It's either the community pushes the government to do a law, like Kareem and Uber and all these. It was a very beautiful example. They just went on the streets, they put this application, and they forced them to regulate, and they did regulate. Or we are obliged internationally to make a certain law, and we have signed an agreement. So the international communities and the international NGOs would come and push for that law to be put. So it's, or inshallah, hopefully now I'm trying to be hopeful about the political parties in Jordan. They will have a plan, and this plan will go along with making the law. So they will never be ready. Okay, it's the idea of, are we getting ready? So whenever we're ready, it's going to be happen. Are we ready? If you make this community, then we will be ready. Maybe if you push this community to start talking, writing, going through, you know, there is Dr. Abdul Razak Banihani. He's a professor in the Hashim, I think in the Hashemite University. Yes. He wrote a book called Al-Iqtisad al-Muassasi, the organizational economy. And he said, when you come with a new idea, you should I don't want to say indoctrinate, you should provide your new terminology, your new thoughts. You keep talking about it until it happens. And it will happen if you come with your new terminology and your new thoughts and provide a solution. We have an issue, and this issue needs to be addressed. Whoever sees it first wins. We already won. So we want to make them see it also, and then the law will come.
Exactly. He's storytelling narratives, putting it out to change the public and the government. And you said the example of Uber, make it a reality that they have to deal with.
Yes.
Actually, thank you very much. All right, so we have the next Sausan.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm Sausan. I'm originally from Tunisia. I was glad, Omar, you mentioned the example of Tunisia and about the law that we have on the social solidarity economy. And yeah, I was surprised recently. I read actually a report from the Skoll Foundation that mentioned Tunisia as having one of the most social enterprise in the world per capita after the US. So I saw what is a high number, and to be honest, there are lots happening in Tunisia about supporting social enterprise and lots of funding coming from international donors and NGOs. They all want Tunisians to launch their project and not to migrate to Europe. So they're dying to find the entrepreneur to launch their business. And so it's interesting, how the place has been shaped, though I feel that our economy in the region has always been social in a way. The more I read and the more I educate myself about social enterprise, the more I feel that's the economy of my grandparents, of my mother, the way we used to do business, اقتصاد جدودنا. But we were not naming, maybe framing it as social entrepreneurship that's new, maybe that has started the 10 years ago, that we are reinventing business with purpose, while that's how we've been doing business forever in the region. So at least we are not introducing something new. either like turning back at our roots and the way we used to make business that's very human, that's very like local, that preserve like our community, our environment. And so at least we are not learning, but actually going back to our roots, which is interesting. And I'm talking to you also. I wanted to mention that I am in Dhaka, in Bangladesh. I'm doing a fellowship with the Mohammed Yunus Foundation. And my goal, and I am on a mission, is to spread social enterprise in the MENA region.
Say hi to them.
And yeah, they are like the most beautiful people. And for once, like we have the solutions, and that come from the south, and that come from the regions, that come from our religions. And I find it's very powerful that the global south, as we frame it, like teaching like how we should do a business and how to preserve the community, the environment, the purpose, the sense that they are desperately like seeking in the West. And that's a very powerful messages and example that I'm very proud to be able to share with the communities. And I'm leading currently a program on social entrepreneurship skills. And thank you so much, Rana. You participate with us like in one of the discussions we have monthly with the Yemeni would-be entrepreneur. And we try to raise awareness that business can be with purpose, and to frame like the new way, like you don't need to be either business, money, or charity. You can be both. It can be these hybrid models. And find it a bit challenging in countries such as Yemen, where people have been used for decades from NGOs, donors, and charities work. And maybe that's even wider in our regions. Like they've killed the entrepreneurship, like will, like with all discouraging people and to take initiative and risk and going more to government jobs. And also because the ecosystem has been so weak. And so I'm glad that there is this group, and I hope that we can really shift and lead and show examples and show models of it can work. And future is with this majority young people, this like human wealth that we have, that is like dying for opportunity to find their ways and make it where they are, if only like we can like give them the right guiding and messaging. And there's so much to do, like incubations, inspirations, mentoring, trainings. And I'm glad that I've seen many countries like this, like mushrooming, like incubation hubs, and people who wants to try to spread to other peers like their journey. And find it very powerful also that we are guided by the same purpose, maybe for once, like the sustainability goals that bring us all together. And there are lots of efforts happening like at grassroots levels, but when you are an entrepreneur, you are very busy, you are often by yourself, and you don't have a resource, you are too busy working, and maybe like you don't have time, or you don't know how to communicate your efforts, so you can like connect with other people doing the same work as you, and empowering one another. And there's a lot to do to connect us all together. And I very
Absolutely.
thank
you, Sausan.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And actually, that's what Catalyst is about, right? That we can all come together, find those people to engage in these conversations, to support each other, dream big, be creative, and be courageous and bold to make the changes that we need, and connect across the world, regardless of boundaries and borders. So as we come to the end, I want to leave Ustaz Omar, if you have a final piece of advice, because I always, when you get inspired and you meet people, you want to go home and think, okay, now I'm so excited, what can I do? So can you leave us with an action-oriented item to do, other than joining Catalyst and reaching out to everybody and being part of this wonderful group? Please go.
First of all, I want to thank you. And having the opportunity to speak my mind out is something very valuable, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. Everyone needs to join the Catalyst. What you're doing is a great job. You're putting all the efforts in one place, and that by itself is going to come up with a very long-term and short-term benefits for the community. What I want to say is this: there is already a policy. I want, if I have a say in this, I would ask everyone to start writing about it, talking about it. Every week we need to Arabize it as well, because it is Arabic. It is هي لغتنا الأم، وهي العمل الجذري بكل أعمالنا التجارية. And if we go to our roots, we will find the main terms that do exist. Please keep talking about it. Keep talking about how to have an intrinsic value of our community. Talk about the SDGs. Ask, request more policy from the governments, from all the governments. This is our final chance, if I may say, to unite. Let's not waste it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jazakallahu khairan. And on that, yes, we need to unite, and we can't wait for others. We have to take responsibility, take agency, be the change we want to see in the world. أو زي الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. Everyone is a guardian, has a responsibility, and to join hands together and make a change. So we're looking forward to future meetings together and to change the world together, inshallah. And this is how we can help our fellow brothers and sisters in Gaza and other places around the world, is when we start working together from now to prevent things from happening in the future. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and join us. There's another session right now happening at the top of the hour about decolonization and SDGs. So please join us. And then there are many other sessions, and MENA Manara is tomorrow launching this initiative, and hope using what you said, Omar and Sausan and others and Farah together to make a difference in this world and to lead. Not to follow, but for us to be the beacon, the manara of hope for us and the world as we go forward. Thank you. Jazakumullah khair. And thank you, Catalyst. Thank you, Ghufran, and all the Catalyst team.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.